everyone, welcome to the first 57 Studios tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about the Visibility tab, the Player Spawn Points tab, and the Volumes tab. Okay, so the first tab we're going to be talking about is the Visibility tab. This can be located in Level and Visibility. The first section of this is Road Nodes. If you hit F1, you can enable the road nodes, and you can click it up here also. The next one is navigation nodes. Those can be enabled and then seen. The next one is nodes, which just enables every single type of node that is in environment and nodes. That enables both airdrops, spawn points, and location names. The next one is items, which is just F4, and that enables you to be able to see items. Then we have F5, which is players, as you can see there. Then we have zombies, and then vehicle spawns, and then F8 for border. And so you can see where your border of your map is, so you're not making stuff outside the border. We have animal spawns, and lastly we have decals. Decals currently do not have a keybind. If they did have one, it would be F10, but currently there is no coded in keybind in the editor, so you have to come to the Visibility tab to enable and disable the decals visibility. The next tab we're going to be talking about is the Nodes tab. This tab is found in Environment and Nodes. The first section of this is airdrops. Now let me just enable nodes. So here you can see I have an airdrop. This airdrop has an ID of 540, which correlates to a spawn table. Now this ID can be any spawn table in the game. This is just for an example, it's 540, which is the America airdrop spawn table. It could also be 615, say, if you wanted the German loot table, or it could be 680 for the Peaks loot table. Next, we're going to talk about location names. Right here, I have a location name for this lighthouse called Canary Lighthouse, and it is visible on the map. You can make them invisible on the map, such as admin areas that may be outside the map, and those can be not visible, but they can be teleported to using commands. The next one is the spawn point. The spawn point can be used to teleport players and spawn vehicles. Here you can see I have an example spawn point, which can be used to teleport a player up here using an NPC. Down here, I have another spawn point, and this spawn point can be used to spawn vehicles. Now keep in mind, these are two identical nodes, so both nodes can do the exact same functions as each other. The only difference is this one has a different name. This name can be used in NPCs, and the direction that the arrow is pointing will be the direction that the player is teleported in or the vehicle is spawned in. The next tab we will be talking about is the Players tab. This can be found in Level and Players. You can place players by clicking on the ground or pretty much anywhere. These can be adjusted with the angle. So if you'd like to adjust the angle, you can come down here and rotate them. If you see in the bottom there. So now I can place one in that direction, place one looking in this direction, and I can place one looking in this direction. This is the angle that the player will spawn at, and you can pretty much change whatever angle you would like. The next thing is removing them. You can hit Q to place them and W to remove them. W will bring up this neat little circle, which will have a radius. You can adjust this radius down here. So say I had a lot of them around here, I could delete them pretty easily instead of having to deal with a very small radius to delete them. They are also alternative spawn points, which are used to spawn players in the arena game mode. As you can see here, I have one, and you can do similar things with them to place them and delete them. The next tab we're going to be talking about is the Volumes tab. This can be found in Levels and Volumes. The way that you show all of your volumes is by clicking this little button next to each of them. As you can see here, I'm setting the Ambience Volumes, which is these two, to Solid, this is Hidden, and this is Wireframe. And they have their respected letters for each one. This is an Ambience Volume. This can be set to any effect ID. You can find those online. This one is currently set to a cave sound, and if you listen closely, you may be able to hear them. You can set these to both spheres and cubes, as you can see here. The next volume is the Arena Mode Compactor. This is used in the Arena game mode to define where the arena compacts to. The next volume is the Cartography volume. This volume is constricted to a box. It can be scaled in any direction and rotated in any direction in any way. Rotating will change the look of the GPS and chart when rendered, and things such as markers may not act the correct way for the tilted versions of these. That's why it's not recommended to use these for a official map. I would recommend using these for cool renders of your map, but not full production of your map. The next volume is the Deadzone Volume. This volume can be a cube and a sphere. This volume here has a default radiation type, which will only require a gas mask, while this volume here will require a full body suit, including a gas mask, in order to not take radiation damage. The next volume is the Effect Volume. This volume has a few different modifiers you can change on it. This one is currently set to a flame emission. You can change the ID here to any ID you find, and the emission rate can be changed. So for example, this one has an emission rate of 5, so it is 5 times the amount of emission from this one. And this one here has an emission rate of 100, and this is 100 times with this one. You can also have an audio range on these. For example, there's a waterfall one, which when put to a high enough number, you can actually hear the waterfall from far away, and the sound will fade away the further away you are from it. This can be useful for detailing maps near waterfalls and other things. The next volume is the Foliage Volume. This is usually around the map when it is first generated and can be set to additive or subtractive. You can also change the different types of foliage that can be generated within it, such as instant meshes, resources, and objects. It can be set to both a box and a sphere. The next volume is the Horde Purchase Volume. This can be set to both a box and a sphere, and can sell items to a player by entering them. There will be a hotkey to press to purchase an item when inside the volume, and you can define the item ID and the cost here. The next volume is the Kill Volume. This volume can be set to a cube or a sphere. You can set it to kill players, zombies, animals, or vehicles. You can choose the death cause here, and you can set it to a variety of different death causes that you can find out yourself in the editor. The next volume is the Landscape Hole Volume. This volume has since been removed from the editor, but can be found in its new home in the Materials tab. By hitting R, you can paint on hole volumes in any shape using a grid pattern. The next volume is the Nav Clip Volume. This volume can be used to prevent zombies from entering unwanted areas in the map. It can be a box and a sphere. The next volume is the Oxygen Volume. This volume can be set to both a cube and a sphere. You can set this variable here to set if it is breathable or not. The is breathable will allow players to breathe in areas where they wouldn't be able to breathe, such as underwater or high up. The next volume is the Player Clip Volume. This volume can be a cube and a sphere. You can set it to block a player from entering this area, or you can set it to not block the player, but prevent them from placing objects within the area. This can be good for safe zones and other places on the map where you would not like players to place objects. The next volume is the Safezone Volume. This volume can act much like the player clip volume in the way that you can make it so then players cannot place buildables. You can also make it so then players cannot equip weapons within this area, and player damage will be negated whenever inside the area. This can be a cube and a sphere. The next volumes are the Teleporter Entrance Volume and the Teleporter Exit Volume. The Teleporter Entrance Volume can be set to both a box and a sphere. The Teleporter Entrance Volume has a pair ID, which corresponds to a Teleporter Exit Volume's ID. This ID can be set to any value along with the Teleporter Entrance. If there are more than one Teleporter Exits with the same ID, the game will automatically choose a random teleporter to send the player to. The next volume is the Underground Whitelist Volume. This volume can be set to both a cube and a sphere. This volume can be used to allow players to enter the underground areas of maps while disallowing them to enter other areas that do not have the permitted whitelist volume. The next volume is the Water Volume. This volume can be set to both a cube and a sphere and has a few different variables that can be changed with them. You can change the surface visible for the box one. The sphere is automatically set to not have this on regardless of what this variable is set to. When inside the sphere, the water effect can still be seen. The box also has the reflection visible, which enables the reflections when using ultra water quality. You can also set the sea level, and this is used to define where the sea level is for the chart cartography generation. You can also set the refill type to be salty, dirty, or clean. Down here, you can change the water surface visibility for whenever you're editing the map. Keep in mind the water is still here, it's just that the visibility of it is disabled. When you go inside the volume, it is still enabled unless you disable the underwater effects. This can be useful for detailing underwater areas without having to remove the water volume and replace it later. The next volume is the Manual Object Culling Volume. This volume can be used to cut down on lag in large maps with a lot of objects. Here you can see I have placed one around these containers, and when I go far enough away, they get removed. As you can see here, the ones that are not within the volume do not get removed. If I can set the cull distance to something, say 64, and when I am 64 meters away, it will cull them automatically. You can preview the culling here, so when close up, you can see what gets culled. You can refresh the objects like so, including the large objects. So if you have any large objects that you would like to be culled, you can select those to be culled. As you can see here, it displays how many objects have been removed within the volume. If I scale this up here, you can see 262 items were removed from the volume. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it informative and educational. Next week, we will be discussing road basics and how to create custom roads for your maps. See you next time.